Hey Dum-Dums, I'm starting to think I may be in the need of an image change. No particular reason for that, and what are you doing? Don't look over there. I told you not to look over there. Don't look over there, don't do it! When you look at me, what do you all see? And don't say the obvious stuff like an idiot with a big head, an out-of-work history teacher, or someone who looks like they've got to blow on a cup of tea before they're legally allowed to drink it. Clearly, I'm a troublemaker. I've got tattoos. Menacing. I've got cool sunglasses. Dastardly. I've even got a pair of big stompy boots. That definitely weren't purchased for a sexy nun Halloween costume. No. Who would even go and do the telling to you of that? Confusing? Based on the comments from my last video, I'm clearly doing something wrong. I'm making you all laugh. Ew. Gross. I'm good at editing. Disgusting. This needs to change. You all need to be in constant fear of how polite I am. You need to be horrified about how straight up I'm sitting. That's the dynamic we need to strive towards. But what's going to help me achieve... Hang on, we're already off on the wrong foot. What is going to help me accomplish this? Etiquette. I feel as though I'm in the wrong clothes for this. Hang on a second. Throughout history, proper etiquette has been the way to distinguish between rapscallions and scoundrels and those truly upstanding individuals and members of society. Those of which offered us such pearls of wisdom, like, people with weak eyes should avoid reading on trains, and those with weak lungs should avoid talking. I mean, that's just an absolutely fabulous burn for a Victorian child to say. And beware of exterior application of cosmetics. Instead, once every 2 or 3 months, take a teaspoonful of powdered charcoal mixed with sweetened water or milk. See, Dum-Dums, this is simple. This is all it takes to become a better Hang on a second. Did a bunch of white British and European dudes come up with this in the 17th century? Like the century where we stole a bunch of stuff and stabbed a bunch of people. So I just put milky charcoal on my face for nothing? Because nothing says proper table manners quite like theft and colonial expansion. Long gone are the days of milky charcoal every morning. As times evolve, so too have the traditions and standards set on what it takes to become an upstanding member of society.
I'm going to show you how to get in and out of a supercar whilst wearing a pair of high heels.
Yep, this is totally an everyday problem. Every morning when I wake up in my ball gown and stumble outside into the supercar that I definitely have parked outside right now. I'm totally not thinking about that time the other day where I was trying to get a Diet Coke into my car and stacked it when I tried to jump over a puddle. Maybe I was hexed. Posh British people seem to be absolutely obsessed with the idea of proper table manners and modern etiquette.
Please remember, this is a fine dining experience, and your plate is not a boat, and your cutlery are not oars that are going to row your plate across the table.
If you drop the cutlery onto the floor,
you should leave it there.
Discreetly inform one of the serving staff and let them know that you have dropped an item onto the floor.
One way to elevate your etiquette is to ditch the straw. Never drink from a straw, please. We're not 6.
You acted like you've just shot that off into the dark depths of space when you've really shot that off about 5 feet away from you. Is it really that beneath you to lean down and pick something up when the item that you have thrown away is literally beneath you? I can understand the idea of wanting to be respectful, but shouldn't that respect translate into individuals outside your bubble? Even if we go back to the times of milky charcoal application, there was still some semblance of respect between individuals, or at least that's what they wrote, even if it was super weird. Always leave home with a tender goodbye and loving words. They may be the last. In a crowd, never rudely push aside those who impede your progress, but wait patiently until the way is clear. Okay, I'm going to admit this, you will absolutely never catch me dead doing this. This is my Olympics. If anyone in front of me is walking even a smidge slower than me, even if they're a lady or an old person who may be also passing, they're absolutely being left in the dust. Is that wrong of me to say that? Do I need help? So there might be a tiny bit of work that I need to do before I step outside again and win back the respect of my comment section. Clearly, I need to evolve. One of the main things I've learned from these videos so far is that my entire life is a lie, and everything that I've learned throughout my life is incorrect. Whenever you are drinking something, never bring your mouth to your glass/cup. Always bring the glass/cup to your mouth. I'm sorry, this might be my inner British coming out, but what sort of sick, twisted individual drinks like that? They're like a gazelle hoovering up the last droplets at the watering hole before they're pounced upon by a lion. I think some of it went up my nose. But even this upstanding gentleman still has some things to learn.
The watch should be on the other hand.
And wear proper socks to cover man's legs. Hairy man's legs aren't that nice to watch at in a decent restaurant or a hotel lobby.
Some are not need socks, only grandpa wearing socks. First of all, that is horrifying. Secondly, why are you staring at a person's ankles in a restaurant or a hotel? Shouldn't you be focusing on your food? I didn't realise you weren't allowed to show spicy ankle anymore. That's like half my wardrobe gone in a flash.
5 words you need to change in order to sound much better. Do not say toilet, say lavatory. Never say couch, say sofa. Don't say aftershave, say fragrance. Pardon? Never say pardon, because you're not French and you're trying to sound like a classy French person. There's nothing so unclassy than trying to be something you are not.
Pardon me, mon ami, but you're telling me to never use the word pardon so I don't sound like a classy French person. But you want me to say fragrance instead of aftershave. Fragrance, you know the word that is actually French?
There's nothing so unclassy than trying to be something you are not.
Don't fret, my friend. Perhaps we can go and sort out our differences in the loo, or go and sit on a sofa. We can't say that either, because loo comes from the word le, which, if you couldn't tell, comes from this little tiny island called France. And sofa comes from Arabic.
There's nothing so unclassy than trying to be something you are not.
Can we say any words if I want to be a posh etiquette-y person? Whenever you see any videos on how to become a better person, they always use footage like this. Oh really, you want me to become a better human being? And you're using Tommy Shelby as an example of that. The criminal who's killed quite a lot of people. You know, the man who's famously not in control of his emotions. This is where I think the TikTok life advice scene sort of falls apart a bit. They're very boring and uninspiring. It's always the same people.
Picture in your mind who the man is. What does he do? What are his mannerisms like? How does he dress? Who is the guy that everybody wants to be around? And just act like that person.
I feel as though I haven't done that correctly. Far away from the worlds of posh people, I used to think manners were invented to make children like me less annoying. Like, do any of you remember when an adult would come up to you and say stuff like, "Come on, little Horatio, sit up straight and close that mouth of yours. If you don't, the next time the wind changes, you'll stay like that forever. And don't go skipping and jumping between stones, because if you step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back. And don't even get me started on Jinx padlock 1, 2, 3. How horrifying was that? I visibly remember being a child and being continually afraid of the wind and its ever-changing nature. I felt like Medusa was watching me at all times, just waiting for me to slip up and yawn in public. Ironically, you could say I was absolutely petrified by that. But then again, I was an idiot. Don't laugh at me, but as a child, I thought I could fly, so in order to test this theory, I jumped down an entire flight of stairs. I couldn't fly, if any of you were wondering. There's not too much going on up here. Obviously, all of this was part of a grand plan to make us upstanding individuals in society, and in my case, make me entirely scared of weather patterns and staircases.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Oh my god. But you know what all of our master plans were missing? A superhero subplot.
This is how I'm gonna raise my son to be a gentleman. Right when he turns 13, I'm gonna go onto Craigslist and make a post looking for a young female actor. I'll leave to go to the bathroom and we'll have this actor strike up a conversation with my kid. They'll exchange phone numbers and begin texting later that day. Eventually, they'll go out on dates. After 8 months of feeling so connected to this young lady, we'll hear a knock at the door. A man in a black suit will greet my son at the front door and say,
"I'm so sorry for your loss. Here's one last letter from her."
What?
In that letter, his now
Deceased girlfriend
will explain all of the things that he messed up on during their relationship.
Excuse me? What was that? Who writes the letter? Is it the dad? Or does he have to weirdly watch the dates from afar and critique his son's performance like he's watching a football game at the weekend?
And since he thinks that his girlfriend just passed away,
he will never forget this moment, and these lessons will stick with him forever.
Having your first love die tragically and then leave you a note from beyond the grave that is delivered by a man in a black suit telling you what you did wrong in your 8-month relationship won't make you the perfect gentleman. It'll make a tiny John Wick. Or they'll never go outside again. There's 2 ways that situation could go. I know I said I thought I could fly as a child, but that wasn't because my parents led me down the path of giving me a Superman-themed backstory, where I was found in a field and I was delivered to them from a faraway land. It was because I'd had a lot of Cocoa Pops and I was an idiot. I'm sitting here laughing and critiquing these methods, but now that I think about it, do I still think I can fly? No. Do I still yawn at full strength directly into a wind tunnel? Occasionally. Maybe we've already done it. Maybe we're already civilized human beings. As always, make sure you remember the simple rules of etiquette to stay ahead of the game. Step 1. Keep your elbows by your side at all times. We're not bumper cars, we're people. Step 2. Keep air usage to a minimum. No one cares about your day. In fact, don't even look at anyone else. Keep your eyes on the wall. And you know what? Who even needs food? Plants don't eat and they're always punctual and stand up straight. So go outside, suck in some sunlight and photosynthesize like a gentleman. I feel as though it worked. I'm now posh. Does that mean I can now look down upon all of you? What? You've all been watching the same thing as me? So we're now on a level playing field? What was the point in any of this? I've got some work to do apparently. God. With that in mind, thank you so much for your kind words on the last video. Well, mostly kind words. I appreciate you all watching this big-headed fool again, and thank you for subscribing. Just as a side note, if any of you are interested, I am hex-free. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, read up on the lore. What are you talking about?